Okay, we are asked to differentiate the square root of x minus 1. Don't forget, since you are not given any letter, you understand, all you have to do is that just set this function equals to a letter. You can choose any letter of your choice, okay? So I'm going to use y. Y equals to square root of what? X minus 1. Now, the next step is that you have to increase x by delta x. There will also be a corresponding increment in y by delta y, okay? So I'm going to have y plus delta y is equals to square root of x plus delta x minus 1, okay? Now, having gotten to this point, the next step is that you have to make delta y the subject of the relation, you understand? So that means that I'm going to move this y to the right hand side of the equation. So here I'm going to have delta y equals to square root of x plus delta x, okay, minus 1 minus y, you understand? And according to equation 1, y is what? Square root of x minus 1, you understand? So I'm going to have delta y is equals to square root of x plus delta x minus 1, okay? Y is what? Square root of x minus 1, so minus square root of x minus 1, okay? Now, having gotten to this point, the next step is that we have to multiply both the numerator and the denominator of the right hand side by the conjugate, you understand? I'm very sure you are well versed with this topic in mathematics, SOD. When you are talking about SOD, the goal is that we want to eliminate the square root that is at the top of x plus delta x minus 1 and x minus 1, you understand? In an attempt to help us to eliminate the square root, we have to multiply both the numerator by and the denominator by the conjugate, okay? So let's do that. Here I'm going to have this, the conjugate of square root of x plus delta x minus 1 minus the square root of x minus 1 is this. That will be square root of x plus delta x minus 1 plus square root of x minus 1. The sign that is connecting this and this will change. That is what we mean by conjugate. You understand? If this is positive before, the sign is going to be negative. Now, because it is negative, the sign will be positive. You understand? So, I'm going to have this as well. This all over 1 multiplied by square root of x plus delta x minus 1 plus square root of x minus 1. Okay? So here I'm going to have delta y equals to, if you multiply this and this together, you're going to have x plus delta x minus 1 minus into bracket x minus 1 all over 1 times this square root of x plus delta x square root of x plus delta x minus 1 plus square root of x minus 1. Do you understand? Okay, having gotten to this point, the next step is that you have to divide both sides by delta x. Okay, and before you do that, let us first open the bracket. Okay, for this I'm going to have delta y is equals to x plus delta x minus 1 minus x plus 1. You understand? Because this negative multiply this x, I'm going to have negative x. And this negative multiply this negative 1, I'm going to have positive 1. So this will be all over the square root of x plus delta x minus 1, okay? Plus square root of x minus 1. Do you understand? Now, having gotten to this point, you can see that we can cancel out this. Negative 1 will cancel positive x. Negative x will cancel positive x. And negative 1 will cancel positive 1. You understand? So we are left at the numerator. We are having delta y. Delta y is equals to delta x all over root of x plus delta x, you get it, minus 1 plus square root of x minus 1. Okay, now please, I want you to pay attention. From this point, you have to divide both sides by delta x, you understand? So we are going to have delta y. Okay, you can multiply both sides by delta x. So 1 over delta x, you understand? So I'm going to have this multiply 1 over delta x, and this multiply 1 over delta x. So I'm going to have delta y all over delta x is equals to, this delta x will cancel this delta x. So I'm left with 1. 1 all over square root of x plus delta x minus 1 plus square root of x minus 1. Okay? Now, having gotten to this point, the next step is that you have to limit delta x as delta x tends to 0. I'm very sure you've written this. I want to erase it now, okay? So I'm going to erase it now. I want to erase this. All I did here is that I just take the conjugate, okay? So enable me to give me space to solve this. That's why I erase it, okay? So let's proceed. So I'm going to have dy all over dx is equals to limit delta x as delta x tends to 0. So that means that anywhere I see delta x in this equation, I'm going to replace that 0. Okay, so let's proceed. That means I'm going to have delta y all over delta x is equals to 1 all over square root of x plus 0 minus 1. Okay, plus square root of x minus 1. Okay, dy all over dx is equals to 1 all over square root of x minus 1 plus square root of x minus 1. Dy all over dx is equals to 1 all over 2 square root of x minus 1. That is the final answer to that, to the differentiation of y equals to square root of x minus 1. What I did here is that I just add this and this together. If you have 1 over a plus a, that will be what? 1 over 2a. So I have 1 over square root of x minus 1 plus square root of x plus square root of x minus 1. That will be what? 1 over 2 square root of x minus 1. Do you understand? Okay, so we have the last question, which is question 5. We are asked to find the derivative of 1 over s cubed.